CM Punk is making his AEW return tomorrow night on Collision. He's going to be kept away from all the people he dislikes, all the people he's got beef with there on Wednesdays, and everything is hunky-dory. Except it's not, because he's given an interview with ESPN and it's all kicked off once again. I'm sure you're a little bit familiar with what's going on. It's all over the place right now. We're going to give you the rundown. So CM Punk was interviewed last week by ESPN leading up to his comeback on tomorrow night's AEW Collision premiere. So the exact content of Punk's interview remains undisclosed. It'll probably drop in the next 24 hours. In fact, who knows? Maybe by the time this video goes up and then we'll have to update it. But yeah, he's given this interview. We don't know exactly what's going on, what has been said, but we've got a few little glimpses from various reputable wrestling reporters. First of all, it was said that this is going to be a polarizing interview. Wade Keller describing it as polarizing. And then in an update from Fightful Select, it was revealed that Hangman Page was mentioned during the interview. And while many of Punk's statements were described as ambiguous in terms of whether or not they were works or shoots, whether they were scripted or genuine, Fightful claimed that Punk's remarks about Page were clearly unambiguous and intentionally critical, leaving no doubt that he very much holds a negative opinion of Adam Page. Their report said, "We've been told that Hangman Page was brought up in a manner that was absolutely not confusing in a work shoot perspective. They were clearly intentional and made very clear that he didn't like Hangman Page. Punk said that there were spots in the double or nothing match that he felt were like Page shooting on him, and he was chopping him in the face during the match." Thoughts?
Oh, wow.
Lot to go through.
There is a lot to go through, and you know, the internet is picking it apart already before it's even come out, and I guess rightly so. You know, it's CM Punk, and it always sort of like blurs the line of whether it's real or whether it's not. And I mean, here it sounds like it's unfortunately he's just going off and saying his own opinions about Adam Page there. I don't know what to think about it.
It's not the first time, to be fair, that Adam Page has been accused of working stiff. There were reports that surfaced in, I want to say, 2021, where he had to be spoken to about his in-ring style because he had been working stiff with opponents, and he was spoken to again following that CM Punk match. And I know Arn Anderson at one point had a word with him about how stiff he was working. And I guess, you know what, he did a lot of work in New Japan where the style is a lot stiffer. I'm not excusing his behaviour if he's working stiff. If he's chopping somebody in the face, that's not really on. You've got a feel for Punk there for sure. Whatever your thoughts on Punk are, that's not the done thing, is it? You don't need to be doing that. Anyway, Fightful Select noted that Punk was sent documents to sign to protect AEW, including non-disparagement agreements. Keller said as well that Punk didn't say anything that breached those agreements, and he later followed up on their audio show saying Punk didn't say anything he's legally not allowed to say, but he said other things that are being interpreted as needlessly inflammatory, and it sounds like Punk is thinking he was promoting the show and speaking honestly, but not in an inflammatory way that should be causing drama. So the backstage feeling on this is that Punk may have been needlessly inflammatory about the whole thing. So it appears that there's a little bit more heat there on CM Punk from various people who dislike him backstage at AEW. I don't know on this. I think the timing's curious because I feel like this is an interview. ESPN, major broadcaster. This would have been okayed by AEW ahead of time. I think the timing is really, really curious. It's just kicked off prior to Punk's return, when, you know, lots of people are talking about Punk already, but they'll take any press coverage they can get. I'm by no means a conspiracy theorist in any way. I tend to think that things are largely real rather than works. And I know some people still think that, like, the scrap up following the pay-per-view, it was a work still. I've never really thought that. This, I'm not sure. Maybe he thought he was just putting more eyes on AEW. But if they're not going to work a program together, it does seem needless to be bringing this sort of stuff up.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. I think it does lend itself, if it does lead towards a program. I think it's quite a clever thing to do if it is sort of worked, and they're trying to work that in there to eventually maybe come round and finally have like the blow off and everything, you know, all the reports and everything and all the speculatory nature of this, of they won't work with each other, this, that and the other. And if it does finally come back round and they do end up doing that, that's huge for them, and that's really, really good. But at the moment, as you were saying, I think AEW would have had tight rein on this at least. And I'm sure if things came out that they didn't want coming out, they'd have probably nixed it, wouldn't they? They'd have like cut certain bits.
You say that, but Tony Khan didn't do a very good job of that at the press conference, did he?
Yeah.
I'm sure he wasn't there. I no doubt that he, like, Punk may have had a handler or something. I don't think Tony was there for the interview. We'll see when it comes out. We can make up our own minds then. But the controversy very much continues. We got a bit of an update on the reported plans for CM Punk versus Kenta, which doesn't look like it's going to be happening, but we will see. The report from Fightful also stated that the planned match for Forbidden Door would have been Punk versus Kenta, though it was said that Punk wasn't thrilled with the idea of facing Kenta. So this was then posted to Twitter by a wrestling news website, and Kenta has commented on this. He quote retweeted, saying, "Ha ha ha, me too. It is zero interesting without money. Also, I'm so pissed that they planned our match without my permission and going to make it with no bag. This is my personal feud." If it's a naughty word as well. So it doesn't look like we're going to be getting that. The interesting bit there for me is that, like, they planned it seemingly without Kenta's knowledge, but also that Punk isn't bothered about doing the match.
That's crazy with all the exchanges they've had on Twitter and everything.
Years.
And I feel like as well, it's a match that people. I remember when I remember back in my day last year when the first window was coming around, and I was like, Kenta and CM Punk. That just seems like a done deal. That seems like something that they would absolutely gun for and go for. But maybe neither party is interested in this, unfortunately.
Well, no, I think Kenta wants it, but he wants the cash.
The money, which is fair
play
enough.
to him, because he's doing the job. If they do that match, there's no way that Kenta's going over there.
Kenta's got it.
And you know what? It all boils down to the GTS, doesn't it?
Yeah.
It's all about that one move. Yeah. And so Kenta should be paid fairly if he's doing the job for Punk, because I don't think Punk would be booked to lose that. I want to see the match. I really want to see the match.
That's one of my dream matches that I do want to see.
Do you think Punk doesn't want to do it because he wants people to just think the GTS is his own? Like most wrestling fans, right? If you say, who does go to sleep? They're going to go CM Punk. Does he want that association to remain strong, and so doesn't want to incorporate Kenta into that to blur those lines a bit? Pure speculation here, by the way, just guesswork.
Again, but then as you were saying before, if surely Punk's going to be the one to win the thing, then you'd think he would be up for it at the same time.
Yeah, maybe. He would win as well.
Yeah.
He would definitely win. Anyway, CM Punk has seemingly responded to these reports very shortly after the rumour mill got going. CM Punk posted an Instagram story with a screen grab from When a Stranger Calls. We tried to figure this out. I thought it was from Scary Movie or Scream. It's not. It's from When a Stranger Calls, which reads at the bottom, we trace the call. It's coming from inside the house. Make up your own minds here. My interpretation of that is that he is suggesting that somebody in AEW may be leaking news here. And I think he's probably pointing the finger at maybe one of the EVPs. We're just saying it's coming from inside the house. I don't know. It could be anyone. But I think he's insinuating that AEW are leaking stuff, or somebody within AEW is leaking stuff, which is almost definitely the case because people have picked up on this. They know some of the content of the interview. They know what's coming up. So somebody said something, right?
Yeah, definitely. And as we've been saying before as well, it might have rubbed some people backstage up the wrong way, hence why they might leak it out to the media and people.
We're going to finish on something a little bit lighter. Been looking forward to this. It's not all CM Punk stuff today because WWE's corporate website have added some new photos. One, we'll kick off with this, right? It's a man that we rarely ever see photographed. He has been a placeholder image for years and years on corporate.wwe.com, but we can finally see a recent photo of Mr. Kevin Dunn!
Oh!
Mr. Kevin Dunn. Before we started recording this, you compared him to...
He looks exactly like Peter Pettigrew from Harry Potter. Just a little rat boy. Wait, and he does.
He's got feelings, Andrew.
There's an
You're
image.
cyberbullying here. You're going to
like,
get cancelled here.
In Harry Potter, there's this image of Peter Pettigrew, and he's holding like this baby Voldemort in his hands, and that's what me and Owen were like. That's going to be him.
Don't drag Owen into this.
No,
you gotta look at him.
It's him and Vince McMahon.
Oh, it's 50-50. Owen said most of it, actually.
No,
Owen started it.
Because I thought it was a good joke. So therefore, I'm giving credit to Owen as well for that one. Well done, Owen. For
Well,
that
I think it's really cruel.
Is it?
What's he ever done to you? And also, there's a new photo of Gomez Adams as well, which has been added to the website. This is right. So it's a low-res image. The image that you're seeing behind us right now, we have touched up with AI, but it genuinely looks like that. There's Vince McMahon in all his glory with his little moustache, he's trimmed above it and everything. It's the most recent picture of Vince that we've seen. Obviously, we saw some like the interview ones, and a few bits have been floating around. But there he is in all his glory. Seen various comparisons saying, I think Sean Ross Sapp said he looks like a GTA NPC. Which is pretty
It just looks like he's melting in the heat at the moment.
Yeah, I don't want to sit here and laugh at people's appearances because it's not on, right? Everybody looks different.
They do.
Everybody looks different.
They do.
Especially Vince now. And he's done it to himself, hasn't he? That's not what he really looks like.
No, it's
That's
true.
all silicone and things.
It is.
Anyway, there you go. There's Vince. There's Kevin. We will be back with no doubt more CM Punk news when it all kicks off again. Hopefully later today when the interview drops, we'll let you know what has been said. And it's bonkers. I really did think that we had turned a corner and things were going to be all right.
We were so
you can't
close,
trust him,
weren't we?
can you?
We were
You can't
so
trust
close
it.
to Collision happening, but who knows? As we said, the interview's not come out yet, so we'll see what's in there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And any more photos of little rat boy there. We'll keep you updated.
Yeah.
Right, see you in a bit.